vegetable cooking mistakes can quietly stiffen your arteries, inflame your gut, and leave you feeling older, heavier, and more exhausted, especially after you turn 50. After 50, your digestion gets more sensitive, your blood pressure and cholesterol become less forgiving, and one small cooking habit can be the difference between feeling light and energized. We're spending the next 2 days bloated, constipated, refluxy, and craving sugar like your body just hit the emergency button. The scary part, these mistakes don't look unhealthy. They look normal. They're the same routines people repeat every day: boiling, blending, frying, reheating, even steaming the right way. They can strip nutrients your heart needs, sabotage the fiber your gut depends on, and turn a clean vegetable dish into an inflammation trigger. In this video, we're counting down the 8 biggest vegetable cooking mistakes and exactly what to do instead, so your meals actually support your heart, calm your gut, and help you feel sharper and lighter. And trust me, number 1 is the one almost everyone does because it feels like the safest option. Number 8, boiling your vegetables, then pouring the goodness down the drain. This one feels so innocent, it's almost cruel. You grab a pot, toss in broccoli, carrots, spinach, green beans, whatever's in the fridge, boil it until it's safe. Drain it, season it, and feel like you just did something responsible. But here's the twist. A lot of the nutrients you wanted from those vegetables don't vanish. They relocate straight into the water you dump. Water-soluble nutrients like vitamin C and many B vitamins are especially vulnerable, and minerals like potassium can leach out too. After 50, that matters because potassium helps support healthy blood pressure balance, and those B vitamins play roles in energy and metabolism. 2 things people swear they're mysteriously running out of if you're already watching your numbers. At the doctor, blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar draining away the helpful parts is like paying for the healthiest groceries and then tossing them in the trash. And it gets worse in real kitchens. Because when vegetables come out bland and mushy, what do? We fix them. Extra salt, heavy sauces, a big pat of butter, maybe a seasoning blend that's basically flavored sodium. So you lose nutrients, then accidentally crank up the salt. That's not a heart-friendly trade, and it can leave you waking up puffy, thirsty, and wondering why your ring suddenly fits like it's holding a grudge. Your gut doesn't love it either. Boiling veggies into soft, watery sadness changes their texture and how satisfying they feel. Translation: you eat more trying to feel full, or you start hunting snacks later because dinner didn't hit, and when digestion slows after 50, the "why am I bloated but still hungry" combo is a special kind of annoying. So what's the smarter move without turning you into a full-time chef? Keep the nutrients in the meal. Steam instead of boil, and pull veggies while they're still bright, not army green and apologizing. Sauté quickly with a splash of olive oil and garlic. Roast at a moderate heat so the flavor comes from caramelization, not drowning in salt. And if you want fast, a microwave-safe bowl, a splash of water, cover it and steam right there. No nutrient bath to drain, no guilt, no drama. And if you truly love boiling great, just don't drain it. Turn that water into soup, stew, beans, rice, or a quick broth so the vitamins and minerals stay on your plate. Because if mistake number 8 is draining away the benefit, number 7 is the one that makes healthy vegetables secretly behave like junk food. And most people do it every single day without realizing until their body complains loudly. Number 7, turning vegetables into health theater with the wrong fats and sauces. You've seen it. Maybe you've done it. A mountain of vegetables hits the pan, and then comes the little drizzle that turns into a lake, a splash of bottled sauce that turns into a glaze, a quick veggie side that ends up tasting like takeout, which is exactly the problem. Because vegetables can be incredibly heart and gut supportive until they get wrapped in a costume. After 50, your body is less forgiving with huge sodium hits, added sugars, and fats that have been overheated or broken down. And the sneakiest part is how normal it looks. Nobody raises an eyebrow at just a stir fry, but the nutrition math can flip fast. Here's what happens in real kitchens. People crank the heat high to cook faster, add a refined oil, wait until it smokes a little because we're busy, then toss in veggies. Smoking oil isn't a flavor upgrade, it's a signal the oil is breaking down. Then we finish with teriyaki, sweet chili, honey garlic, or healthy bottled dressings that can carry more sugar and sodium than you'd expect in a side dish. And it's not only sauces, it's those one-step seasoning packets and flavored salts that taste amazing because they're engineered to be salty and you barely notice it. After 50, that combo matters. Big sodium loads can leave you puffy, thirsty at night, and if you're sensitive, more prone to reflux. Added sugar can also crank up cravings, turning "I had vegetables" into "why am I raiding the pantry at 10 p.m.?" And for the gut, heavy, greasy coatings can slow digestion, and sugary sauces can feed the wrong kind of chaos if you already notice bloating or irregularity. The tragedy is you'll blame the vegetables when really it was the dressing they never asked for. But I'm not here to take joy away. I'm here to get your vegetables back on your side. Do the heat check, cook on medium to medium high, not surface of the sun. Use stable fats in small amounts and add delicate oils at the end for flavor instead of burning them at the start. If you love sauces, make the portion a decision, not an accident. Taste first, then add. And try this trick. Build flavor with acid and aromatics lemon, vinegar, garlic, ginger, herbs. So you don't need a salt and sugar syrup to make vegetables exciting. Because once you fix mistake number 7, you'll notice something wild. Vegetables start tasting better, sindari, and your body stops acting like you just ate a fast food combo. And coming up next, mistake number 6 is the one that sounds clean and safe, but can quietly wreck your gut for hours. Number 6. Roasting or grilling vegetables until they're charred and crispy, aka burnt. This is the mistake that feels gourmet. You toss veggies on a tray, crank the oven high, walk away, and come back to those dark, crispy edges that taste smoky and restaurant level. And yes, caramelization can be amazing, but there's a line, and a lot of people cross it without realizing. When vegetables go from golden brown to blackened, especially on grills, air fryers, and super hot. Roasting, those scorched bits aren't just extra flavor, they're a chemical mess your body has to deal with. Burnt food can contain compounds that are linked to inflammation and oxidative stress, and after 50, when your arteries and gut lining aren't as tolerant as they used to be, that can matter more than people want to admit. Here's the emotional part. You can do everything right on paper. More veggies, fewer carbs, healthier dinners, and still feel off. Still get reflux, still feel heavy, still get that irritated, gassy, unsettled stomach after meals, and you'll blame age or stress or maybe I'm just sensitive now. Sometimes it's not you, it's the fact that your vegetables are coming out like tiny charcoal briquettes. And there's another sneaky layer. When veggies taste slightly burnt, people compensate. More sauce, more salt, more cheese, more oil, more just a little something. Suddenly your heart-healthy tray becomes a sodium and fat rescue mission, and your gut gets stuck digesting a meal that's way heavier than it needed to be. The fix isn't boring. You don't have to eat pale, sad vegetables like you're being punished. You just want controlled browning, not scorching. Roast at a moderate heat, stir halfway, and pull them when they're browned and fragrant, not when they look like they survived a small house fire. If you love grilling, use foil or a grill basket so you get smoky flavor without turning corners into ash. And here's a simple rule that saves people. If it tastes bitter, it's probably past crispy. That bitterness is your tongue trying to protect you. Do this and you'll notice something wild. Vegetables start tasting sweeter on their own, which means you don't need to drown them in stuff just to enjoy them. And if number 6 is burning your vegetables until your body fights back, number 5 is even more common because it doesn't look like a mistake at all. It looks like tradition, it looks like comfort, and it's the reason some people swear vegetables don't agree with them after 50, even though the real culprit is hiding in the pan. Number 5, cooking vegetables with a little processed meat until the vegetables aren't the main event anymore. This one is personal for a lot of families. Greens cooked with bacon, cabbage fried with sausage, green beans simmered with ham, Brussels sprouts upgraded with pancetta. It's comforting, it smells incredible, and it feels like you're making vegetables more satisfying. But here's the twist. You can turn a heart-healthy, gut-friendly vegetable dish into a sodium-loaded inflammatory trap without even meaning to, because processed meats are not neutral ingredients. They bring heavy salt, preservatives, and saturated fat into the party. And after 50, your body keeps receipts. You know that feeling after dinner where you're thirsty all night, a little puffy the next morning, and your stomach feels weirdly heavy? That's not always just aging. That can be a high-sodium meal doing exactly what high-sodium meals do. And processed meats don't just add salt, you usually add salt on top of them because you're seasoning out of habit. So what started as a little bacon for flavor turns into a dish that's basically flavored salt wearing a broccoli costume. Now let's talk gut. A lot of people blame the vegetable when they get gas, reflux, or discomfort, especially after 50. But if your vegetables are cooked in a greasy, salty, processed meat base, your gut has to digest the vegetable fiber and deal with the heavier fats and additives at the same time. That combo can be rough. And the worst part is the conclusion people draw. I guess I shouldn't eat vegetables. No. Your vegetables are innocent. They were framed. And it's not about never eating bacon again. It's about not making it the default support beam, holding up every vegetable meal. If you want smoky, savory flavor without hijacking the health benefits, you've got options that don't. Fight your heart and gut. Garlic and onions cooked slowly, smoked paprika, a splash of vinegar or lemon at the end to make flavors pop. Mushrooms browned until they're meaty. A tiny bit of olive oil with herbs, even a sprinkle of toasted nuts for crunch, so the vegetable stays the hero and your body doesn't feel like it's cleaning up after a bar fight. Because once you fix mistake number 5, vegetables stop feeling like a risk and start feeling like relief. And coming next, number 4, is the mistake people do because they're trying to be efficient. But it can quietly wreck texture, gut comfort, and even your appetite in a way that feels completely unrelated to cooking. Number 4, cooking vegetables, then reheating them over and over like it's no big deal. This one is the I'm being responsible mistake. Meal prep, leftovers. Big batch cooking. You make a giant pot of mixed veggies or a tray of roasted vegetables on Sunday. Feel like a productivity legend? Then reheat the same container again and again and again. And here's the problem. Vegetables aren't just calories, they're chemistry. And repeated reheating can turn a gut-friendly food into something that tastes worse, digests worse, and quietly makes your body feel off without you ever connecting the dots. First, let's talk texture and satisfaction because it matters more than people admit. Every time you heat vegetables, the cell walls break down more. That's why reheated broccoli goes from tender to wet sponge, why zucchini turns into mush, and why leafy greens become that slimy, collapsed pile that makes you suddenly not hungry anymore. And when your meal stops being satisfying, your brain starts hunting for something else, something crunchy, something salty, something sweet. So you finish your reheated vegetables, and 30 minutes later you're in the kitchen doing the I'm not really hungry, I just want something dance. But the bigger issue for a lot of people after 50 is digestion. Overcooked, repeatedly reheated vegetables can become harder on a sensitive gut because the fiber structure changes and the water content shifts. That can lead to a weird pattern. You eat what should be a light, healthy meal, and then you get bloating, pressure, gas, or that heavy stomach feeling like your food just parked itself and refused to move. And there's another sneaky twist. Leftovers often get fixed during reheating. You add extra salt because it tastes flat. You add more oil because it's dry. You add sauce because the texture is sad. So the meal becomes progressively heavier each day. It's like your vegetables are slowly turning into a completely different food without you realizing it. Now, does that mean leftovers are bad? No, it means reheating has rules. If you're meal prepping vegetables, cook them slightly underdone on day 1 so they don't become mush by day 3. Store them properly and reheat gently medium heat, short time, and stop the second. They're hot, not when they're boiling again. And here's the biggest upgrade. Prep components, not full meals. Roast a tray of carrots and peppers, keep leafy greens fresh, and combine them when you eat. That way, you're not repeatedly destroying everything in one container. Also, if you're making soups or stews, that's one of the best leftover-friendly formats because the texture loss is expected, and the nutrients stay in the liquid instead of drying out and begging for salt. Fix this mistake, and vegetables go back to being energizing instead of depressing. And if number 4 is about what reheating does to vegetables, number 3 is about what blending does, because the next mistake is the one people do in the name of easy digestion, but it can backfire on your gut and your blood sugar in a way that feels completely unfair. Number 3, blending vegetables into easy health and accidentally making them harder on your body. This mistake is the one that sounds like a life hack. You take vegetables, spinach, kale, carrots, beets, whatever, toss them into a blender, turn them into a smoothie or pureed detox soup, and tell yourself, look at me. I'm basically a wellness influencer now. But after 50, this can backfire in a way that feels unfair, because when you blend vegetables into a drinkable paste, you remove 2 things your heart and gut quietly rely on: chewing and slow digestion. Chewing isn't just manners, it's a signal to your brain and stomach that food is coming. It helps your body release digestive juices on time, it slows you down, and it helps you feel satisfied. When you gulp vegetables in 60 seconds, you can end up healthy and hungry at the same time, which is how people end up raiding the pantry later, confused, betrayed, and holding a sleeve of crackers like it's emotional support. And gut-wise, blending can concentrate certain veggies that are already rough for sensitive digestion, especially raw leafy greens and cruciferous vegetables like kale. A huge raw green smoothie can turn into a gas and bloat situation, not because vegetables are bad, but because you just gave your gut a dense fiber load in liquid form, fast, with zero chewing, and often on an empty stomach. After 50, when digestion is less forgiving, that can feel like your belly inflated out of spite. And here's the sneaky part. People often upgrade these blends with fruit, honey, or juice to make them taste better. So now your vegetable habit is also quietly training your cravings. You'll feel the energy spike, then the crash, then the "why do I want sugar at 4 p.m. moment." The fix isn't to ban smoothies, it's to stop treating them like a loophole. If you're blending veggies, keep it balanced. Add protein like Greek yogurt or a protein source, add a little healthy fat like nut butter or chia, and don't make it 90% raw greens like you're trying to win an award. Rotate in lightly cooked veggies too. Yes, cooked because they're often gentler on the gut. And drink it slowly, like a meal, not a dare. Because if mistake number 3 is turning vegetables into a fast drink your body can't process calmly, number 2 is the one that seems heart-healthy on the label, but can quietly rob you of the very nutrients you're cooking vegetables to get in the first place. Number 2, cooking vegetables with zero fat, then wondering why you're still tired and hungry. This one is incredibly common after 50, especially for people trying to be good. You steam vegetables, boil them, air fry them dry, or eat a giant plate of plain greens with nothing on top, because fat has been treated like the villain for decades. And yes, drowning vegetables in grease isn't the goal, but here's the part nobody says loudly enough. Some of the most important nutrients in vegetables need fat to be absorbed well. So if your vegetables are always fat-free, you may be cooking the right foods and still not getting the full benefit. That can matter more after 50, when your body is already fighting harder to keep energy steady, inflammation down, and your heart and blood vessels supported. Think about it like this. Vegetables are the delivery truck of nutrients, but a little healthy fat is the key that lets your body unlock and use some of what's inside. Without that key, you can end up feeling like you're doing everything right, eating salads, eating greens, eating colorful veggies, yet you're still tired, still snacky, still unsatisfied after meals, and when you don't feel satisfied, your brain doesn't say, let's eat more broccoli. It says, find chips. Immediately. Gut-wise, there's a twist too. Ultra-lean veggie meals can move through you in a weird way. You feel full for 5 minutes, then empty and craving something heavy. Or you get bloated because your meal is basically fiber without the balance that helps it sit comfortably. A small amount of the right fat can make vegetables feel gentler and more satisfying without turning dinner into a deep-fried situation. The fix is almost stupidly simple. Add a little fat on purpose, not by accident. Drizzle olive oil after cooking. Add avocado to roasted veggies. Toss greens with tahini nuts or a simple homemade dressing. Even a sprinkle of seeds can change how satisfying the meal feels. Because once you stop cooking vegetables like they're supposed to be punishment, your heart and gut stop acting like they're in a constant argument. And next, number 1 is the mistake almost everyone does because it feels like the safest way to cook vegetables. But it can quietly set off bloating, constipation, and that heavy, stuck feeling that people start blaming on age. Number 1, overcooking vegetables until they're soft enough and turning them into a gut and heart problem. This is the mistake almost nobody argues with because it's wrapped in good intentions. After 50, people start thinking, my digestion is more sensitive now. I should cook my vegetables really well. Softer is safer, softer is easier, softer is better, so the broccoli gets cooked until it's army green. The cabbage gets simmered until it collapses into threads. The carrots go from tender to baby food. And the greens, they don't just wilt, they surrender. And here's the cruel twist. Overcooking vegetables doesn't just make them taste sad. It can change how they behave in your body. You lose texture, you lose bite, and you often lose nutrients that your heart actually needs. Vitamin C takes a hit with long cooking. Some B vitamins drop, and when veggies come out bland and mushy, people compensate the same way every time. More salt, more bouillon cubes, more seasoning blends, more sauces. So what started as easier to digest becomes way more sodium, which is exactly what your heart does not need after 50. But the gut side is where people really feel betrayed. Overcooked vegetables can become a weird digestion trigger because you end up eating more of them to feel satisfied, since mush doesn't feel like a real meal. And when you eat a big volume fast, you can get that stretched, heavy, gassy feeling like your stomach is wearing a tight belt from the inside. Then the next day, people wonder why they're bloated or backed up and start blaming the vegetables themselves. I can't do broccoli anymore. Cabbage destroys me. Greens make me gassy. Sometimes the vegetable isn't the villain, the cooking method is. And there's another sneaky layer. When vegetables are cooked to mush, your meal becomes easier to eat quickly, almost too quickly. Less chewing, less slowed down, less time for your body to register fullness. That can lead to overeating, then feeling uncomfortable, then craving something sweet later because your body feels off balance. It's a chain reaction that starts with one simple habit: cooking vegetables until they're lifeless. So what do you do instead? You cook for tender, crisp, not surrender. You want vegetables bright, flavorful, and still structured. Steam just until they're vivid. Sauté on medium heat so they soften without collapsing. Roast until browned, but not burnt. And if you're dealing with a sensitive gut, you don't have to nuke every vegetable into mush. You choose gentler options and cook them properly. Peeled zucchini, carrots, spinach, lightly wilted, squash roasted until soft, but not waterlogged. And here's the part people love once they try it. Vegetables start tasting naturally sweeter and more satisfying, so you don't need to drown them in salt to make them edible. Because the goal after 50 isn't just eating vegetables, it's eating them in a way that actually supports your heart, calms your gut, and makes you feel like your body is working with you again, not against you. So now you know, it's not just eating vegetables after 50. It's whether your cooking habits are quietly turning them into something your heart and gut can't handle. And the best part is you don't need a new diet, just one smarter change. Pick one mistake from this list and fix it for the next 7 days. Then watch what happens. Less bloating, fewer cravings, better energy, and meals that finally feel light again. Now tell me in the comments which vegetable gives you the most trouble: broccoli, cabbage, greens, beans, and how do you usually cook it? I might be able to pinpoint the exact mistake instantly. If this helped, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who swears vegetables don't agree with them. Chances are, it's not the vegetables.